Hey, how are you? It's me again. Listen, I know you guys see the picture when you click on my videos. It's the fat guy in the red shirt that I'm wearing right now, or purple, I'm sorry, the one I'm wearing right now. Well, that's me. I'm Fats. You know, nice to meet y'all. Sitting on my lap is my adopted 7-year-old Labradoodle. Labradoodles are a mix of Poodle and Labrador. They were developed in Australia to be guide dogs for blind people, and they're hyperallergenic. Now, according to what I've been reading, not all of the ones that are out there today are hyperallergenic. I have one. I also have the craziest one on the planet. Antonia does what she wants to do. Doesn't play unless it's with her blanket that she's chewed to shreds. Hates all female dogs. Hates a lot of things, you know. But she doesn't hate me, and she doesn't hate Ruby, so that's cool. All right, well, that's enough about her and me and what have you, you know. The world's a mess right now. I guess you can see that. You know, you look out the window, you can tell things are just going haywire everywhere. There's public disturbances. Some people call them riots. I call them public disturbances. I've been in riots. They used guns when I was in them, and they shot at each other. So I call these, more or less, I call these public disturbances. Pretty well mannered too, compared to what I went through back in '68 and what have you. But Trump is off the. It's just he's gone. I mean, mentally he's gone, but he's going to get reelected. And people say, "Well, you crazy? Look at the polls." Well, that's one of the reasons he'll get reelected. Biden's got this lead, and if you ever worked for in politics, if you worked for a party or a candidate, and you see somebody's got a lead, say it's your candidate. It's easier to describe it that way. What will happen is the people in your party, your workers, the ones that are going out and supposed to get people to the polls and whatnot, if it's raining or bad weather, they're inclined not to really push it that hard. You know, they're really not. A lot of them won't even show up for work. The people that you have as volunteers to go drive people here or there, you know. And the people that are going here or there don't want to go here or there, you know, because of bad weather, or they say, well, you know, he's got to leave. He doesn't need my vote. It's the old saying that, you know, we tell you every vote counts, but, you know, people don't realize that. And you can't really see every vote counting unless you look at a local election, you know, a Board of Education election or something like that, or City Council election, you know, that's where your one vote can mean the difference between somebody winning or losing. But when you see millions of people voting, you say, my vote don't mean anything, you know. What's that? Biden's going to win anyhow, you know. People are tired of Trumpster. Well, Trumpster's people, I can guarantee you one thing. The Trumpster's people will be out there. Anybody that goes into an election and is behind, gets their workers, kicks them in the ass, gets everybody they can out there. And you're dealing with a man that's trying to create enough chaos to disrupt the voting public. In other words, people, if the virus is really out of control in November, which they say it might be, because it might come back even stronger in the fall. If that happens, people will be afraid to vote. You know, the older people and whatnot. You'll get the fanatics to go out and vote. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that every single person that supports the Trumpster is going to go out and vote. The problem that you have is those of us that hate him is getting them to get out and vote. Now, I'm having trouble getting my ballot, so I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to vote because I don't live in the United States. So I'm not sure what's going to happen there, you know. But those of you that live in the United States and you want to see some good change, not just change for the sake of change, you know, which I think is what happened when they elected Trumpster. But if you'd like to see some healthy change, right now you only have one choice. You have Biden, And if he picks the right person for his vice president, remember something, you'll basically be voting for the vice president for president. Because I doubt very seriously that Biden will hold up through the campaign and into the end of his first term. I hope he does. I give him I hope everything's all right with him. But I just had that feeling, and I think that's another thing. I think that's going to get people to not vote for Biden, because they're going to sit around and say, well, he's not really going to make it, why be a wasted vote, and then you have this guy, Kanye West, coming in, and she's going to take the black vote. Well, he'll take the unintelligent vote, not the black vote per se, but the unintelligent vote, people that are just sitting there that want to disrupt things that are like a lot like the Trumpster, that live and breathe chaos. They love it. They can't get enough of it. They thrive in chaos, and that's he's just going to create some chaos. A lot of hatred, because there's not too many people that like him. Outside of a certain group of black people that remember him from his music and what have you, and his dig his wife, which I can't stand. I don't personally hate the guy. I dislike him for being an opportunist, and I think he's taking advantage of the people of his own race, and I think that's a shame. I mean, I saw enough of that growing up, where I remember they elected the first black mayor of Newark. Gibson was his name. And because they wanted to get rid of the Italians, because that was before Gibson came in, and even when Gibson was there, you were looking at the Sopranos television show. That's what Newark was. I mean, it was run by the mafia. It was a mob town. But Gibson he just ripped off everybody. He did more harm to his people than any of the other mayors that followed him. It's a shame. I mean, people take advantage of that situation. It's the same thing goes with Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton somehow or another thought he could become another Martin Luther King. And King was King was just a great man. I mean, there's no way about it. Al Sharpton was another opportunist. He went and got involved where he thought it would be the biggest public display, where he could pull some strings and get public accolades. And he screwed up several times, and he got caught at it, And again, that's detrimental to the black race. That there's a lot of these reverends and preachers and people that got involved in it. I mean, you had. Who was Malcolm X's leader? I forgot the guy's name. But that was a crook. Malcolm X found out about it. Malcolm X is why he was separating from the rest of the Muslims, and he was having his own black group. And he was a good man. I mean, maybe you didn't think so, but he was basically a good man. But he got screwed over by his own people. The other, I can't remember the name, I should have. It's not Malcolm X, I forget who it was. But anyhow, that happens when you get old, you forget things, some things, I remember the important stuff, like a lot of history and whatnot. I just know the particular names and whatnot because I don't use them very often. And it's the thing about being when you get older, if you don't use things very often, your skills or your vocabulary or whatnot, you will start to forget things. And it's not Alzheimer's, it's not old age, it's just lack of use. Put them aside and they get covered with dust and you can't find them again. I'm very worried about this thing with the Trumpster and the polls and all this. I mean, I don't like polls. I always think that first of all, they can be skewed to tell you almost anything you want. It's a statistical thing. I mean, statistics can be skewed to give you the results of whatever you want. It depends on who you ask. I mean, these people that go out and do these polls aren't stupid. They know the areas that they're calling and whatnot. They know what's going on. They know the answers they're going to get. And if you think, well, Biden's ahead, well, so was Hillary. Hillary was ahead by, they said that Hillary was ahead by more than Biden was at this time. 14. Biden has 14-point lead. They said Hillary at one time had a 16-point lead, and she lost. The Trumpster was smart. His people were smart. They went after the areas that had the most electoral votes. Okay, so even though he lost the public vote, he won the Electoral College and became president. He's not the first one to campaign that way. I mean, you know, back in the day, when people really mattered, and there wasn't states that had all these votes that you could go to, they would ride trains and they would debate in the various cities and small towns just to get any and every vote they could possibly get. It's different now. They don't need every vote. You can be totally ignored. They don't care who you vote for. You know, they want certain states, and that's all they want, and that's wrong because it gives those states political power that they don't deserve. It allows for the radicals to concentrate within the boundaries of a certain area and be able to get the votes that they need to put stupid people in office, which is what they did with the Trumpster. He's stupid. You know, I mean, it's a. I've said this before, you know, I mean, Biden wanted to challenge him to a fist fight. I want to challenge him to an IQ test. We're the same age, so I guess, you know, whatever we've learned and forgotten would be equal, you know. Probably, I'd say, yeah, but be equal. I don't know. I think I would beat him, though, in terms of the IQ. I know what mine is, and I don't, you know, I'm not going to say because it doesn't make any difference, you know, if you don't, I never really truly applied my IQ to anything, so it doesn't make any difference, you know. All right, listen up, the weekend's here, all right? Behave yourselves, let's not get sick, let's protect ourselves, let's, you know, everybody wear a mask, tell Trump to kiss your ass, you know, if he says don't wear a mask, tell him to go fuck himself, he's ignorant. He hasn't got a clue what he's doing where this is concerned. All he's doing is trying to, like I say, is trying to create a chaotic situation where they can claim vote is fraud, they can claim a lot of things, and he can try to hang around some more. Anyhow, let's try to have a good weekend, all right? I'll talk to you, maybe I'll talk to you on the weekend, maybe I'll talk to you next week. All right, ciao.